Pope Francis just concluded his apostolic trip to Iraq. It might seem a noble cause and maybe spiritually not so important, but there is more to it. Associated Press wrote in the wake of this trip, and I quote, "The March 5 to 8 visit is intended to reassure Christians in Iraq who were violently persecuted under the Islamic State. Francis also hopes to further ties with Shiite Muslims." So that is on the surface the purpose of this visit, and there is more to it. We see, for example, that the Vatican News itself wrote that this trip of Francis is, quote, his most important trip yet as Pope. His most important trip yet. So there is much more to it, apparently. Axios wrote, I quote, "The trip comes after 2 decades of attempts to bring a pope to the birthplace of Abraham, a prophet considered the patriarch of Judaism, Islam and Christianity." 2 decades of attempts to bring a pope to the birthplace of Abraham. So this shows again how important this trip seemingly is to the Vatican. They have been working on this even before Pope Francis was in office, and you see that there is really an urgent cause behind it to make this happen right now, and it is not very logical to make it happen right now, just days after rockets were literally flying in the region. So we have to ask ourselves, why this attempt, why now, and why there? Well, the answer is because it is highly prophetic. This is the birthplace of Abraham. This is where the religions began, and Abraham is considered the first patriarch. So it goes all the way back. It is as if Pope Francis is showing, we go back to the basis and we start all over again. And that's why I put in the title of this video Abraham 2.0, and this is really what is behind it. It is redoing religion. Something new is being birthed, and that is of major prophetic importance. Vatican News wrote on Saturday 6th of March, Pope Francis will depart Baghdad for Najaf. Following a courtesy visit to the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Husayni al-Sistani in Najaf, Pope Francis will fly to Nasiriyah for an interreligious meeting at the plain of Ur. So this happened last Saturday. This was written before the visit, but this was on the program, and it happened last Saturday. An interreligious meeting at Ur, and if you see the pictures of this meeting, you see it is right next to the remains of what Leslie is was the house of Abraham himself. So it is really at the very place where this interreligious meeting takes place, and prophetically we can say this is the kickoff of the new world religion. That is what is behind this. That is why this was in the making for already over 2 decades, and why it's so important that it had to happen now. We see around us the beast system as we get it from the Bible, or the new world order. We see it taking shape. We see it in many levels. All of the world societies are changing due to the alleged pandemic, the vaccination programs, the measures, the lockdowns, the green passes and all these things. they are all part of building this new system. And we've addressed this in several videos before, like Mark in the Making and This is Your New Passport. And so part of that system, and we can read this in Revelation 13, where these three pillars are described, and I also addressed them in this little book, Forget Everything. These three pillars are the government led by the first beast, usually called the Antichrist, the religious system led by the second beast, often called the false prophet, and then you have the financial or economic system, which is not led by a person but facilitated by an infrastructure, which is called in Revelation 13 the mark of the beast, the number of the beast, and the name of the beast that makes up this infrastructure. And so we can see that this is taking shape at breakneck speed, and therefore the other parts also must follow, the political but also the religious, and therefore this visit of the Pope is of great prophetic importance. It complements the other things that we see happening in building this new world order beast system. What is noteworthy with regards to this visit and the location is that on his way from Baghdad to Najaf, the Pope passed Hila, and the village of Hila is where the remains of ancient Babylon are. That is the place where Nimrod tried to erect the infamous Tower of Babel. We see that Babel or Babylon is really a metaphor and a reality of the place from where the enemy works. There is seemingly a portal to the demonic realm there. The place where Nimrod built his tower is of great importance and carefully chosen. We've also talked about that in other videos. So what we see here is that not only the birthplace of Abram is significant in forming the new religion, redoing what was done before, but also the nearness to Babylon is of great importance. We see that in the book of Revelation the New World Order is there called Babylon, and it is not without reason. So it's really re-emerging, it's repeating the same thing, and so this place is prophetically of great importance. And we see then in Revelation chapter 17 how this religious Babylon comes to a fall, and it's called there Mystery Babylon. And then of course in chapter 18 we see the commercial Babylon falling. It speaks about the merchants and the ships of trade and the harbors. And then in chapter 19, at the second coming of Jesus, we see also that the governmental and military branch is being destroyed, the armies of the world and the first and second beast. So what we read there, how it comes to an end, we see it right now here in the beginning of 2021. We see it taking shape around us, and it should be clear to Christians to begin with, but to all others, what prophetic times we live in. The timing of the Pope's visit is of ultimate importance, and they have been pushing for this for decades, and now it had to happen because all the other things are going so fast. This has to also be established. And what happens mainly is happening on a spiritual level. It's things we don't see. We are not resting flesh and blood. And so we will see things manifest, and even this very visit might cause a manifestation with regards to Rome or Italy on the short term. That's possible, but not necessary. But in any case, what we will see is this new world religion will also solidify more and more around us in the days and months ahead of us. things are going very fast. And therefore, as always, I want to end with the words that Jesus gave us. When you see these things beginning to take place, look up, for your redemption draws nigh.